How's everybody doing? What this content will be about: should blacks join the Republican Party? We originally started out in the Republican Party because of Lincoln, and we left and became a Democratic Party. But what I'm interested in knowing is, do you think that the Democrats have taken the black vote for granted since they know that they believe that they're going to get it anyway? And who do you believe will be a better president for the United States of America in year 2024? My guest will be Jarvis Tolover. He is a Republican operative. He's a consultant. And if this video brings you value, please give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And with no further ado, we get started.
But I would just give it to him. But like, if you jump out on me while I'm walking down the street and I see your firearm, it's nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, theoretically, you can actually just jump out on someone and just demand their things and act as if you have a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Now that may fly with some people, it may not. But if I see you coming and you have a weapon, I am going to defend myself.
Yeah. But you know something, brother. Let me recap. This is Brother Jarvis from out of Chicago. He is a geopolitical expert and a consultant for Republicans that choose to run for political office, and he is for hire. I think he's for hire. Okay.
Right. We all have our costs.
And you know what? If you're running a campaign, if you're a Republican and you're looking for a manager or somebody a consultant, this is the man to talk to. Okay. And have you had any thoughts of running for political office?
My political ambitions is diplomacy. So, an ambassador, secretary of state, things on a federal level has been my plan. But due to the changing climate now here in Chicago, something local may not be out of reach for a Republican like myself, because the tides are changing, man. I mean, it's two instances. I recently, actually, three. I guess with this immigration thing, there have been African Americans holding press conferences, one outside the city hall and different places, various places throughout the city, and now they're openly calling to have sit down with Republicans. Like, they're like, listen here, our representation has failed us time and time again. Now, I think we need to weigh our options.
So it sounds like, as a political consultant, your position is to help all Republicans that are running for office. Is that what you say? That is your position at this particular time.
At this particular time. And especially if you're running in the Chicagoland area. If you're running, like, I would love to, help, a Republican win an automatic seat.
Yes.
Chicago? There haven't been, and especially like a black candidate, like on the west or the south side. Oh, dude! Well, if you can pull that off, you can do anything.
Yeah, you're right, but brother, I got to ask you something. Before we get to the next question, before I get to this question, I'd like to ask you something. You, as being a member of the NRA, why is it that you're Republican, they have the perception, I believe, that Democrats are trying to take the guns away from the people, which they can. Why? Why is it? Why? What is that? A perception, a reality in your opinion?
There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. I think like England has gotten rid of their guns or something like that, to my knowledge. There is a push for it here in America, but it's just not going to happen.
Okay, but do you think Republicans? You think Democrats want to take your gun?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Yes. Let's see here. You got to ask them that.
I mean, what?
I will say this. I don't think we need AR-15s on the street.
Yes.
There's just no reason for me personally to have an AR-15 for protection. But I do go to gun ranges.
Yes.
I do go hunting. So for the sake of those purposes, I mean, it's okay to have. But I think we do have a gun issue. I'll be lying if I didn't say we have a gun issue in America. Now, the thing is, we need to sit down and really strategize on how to fix it. I'm not with away the guns.
Okay.
Under no circumstances. But I will admit, I believe that we do have a gun issue in this country.
I get it. So you know what? To the NRA, he is a card carrying member, and perhaps he can help you as being a consultant for the NRA. I don't know if he's privileged to that. I'm just saying that.
I am a true believer of the Second Amendment right to bear arms, because at the end of the day, we have an issue with police in America, believe it or not. People don't want to be cops. People think it's a shitty job now. And at the end of the day, an individual needs to be in position to protect themselves or their family. Now, shooting someone necessarily over a cell phone or a watch or anything of that nature is something I wouldn't do. But I don't know, someone may have worked hard for their watch. Someone may have worked hard for their car. Someone, theoretically, they have the right to protect themselves.
And you know what, brother? I want to get to former President Donald Trump. Okay, and I would like to ask you, brother. I'm not going to tell anybody who I voted for, but he appears to be doing very good. But okay, but
I am convinced that people want him to be president. The people who openly say they don't, because as much media attention, as much as the media and people who swear they do not like him keep him in their mouth. I voted for him, not once, but twice, and I'm going to vote for him a third time.
Yes. And
now,
go ahead.
Oh, no. Go.
Okay.
I actually wasn't even a big fan of his initially, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. But
I wasn't. The New York type. But listen, my 401k loves him. And I love my 401k, which aligns me with him. So.
NRA. I got it. But I would like to, start with former President Donald Trump. How did he become a millionaire? And what is it about this book, The Art of the Deal, that I did not read?
Well, I think I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually third generation minor.
Okay.
I if that's socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
His one of his grandfathers was like a saloon owner or hotel owner, and
Mm-hmm.
he had his hand in various entrepreneurial
Mm-hmm.
outlets. And then his father eventually became a multi-millionaire real estate developer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and most of the wealth that his father generated actually came from public homes um, for like
Mm-hmm.
subsidized housing or something to that nature. And then eventually, when Donald Trump got into the real estate game, I believe he was dabbling in subsidized
Real estate.
housing, and
Real estate.
then
Real estate.
he kind of got his hands into like luxury. I mean, no, I mean realistic. From the best of my knowledge,
Yes.
New York, and you're older than me, and I don't know
Yes.
if you've been to New York in the '80s or the '90s, but to the
I've
best
been
of my
through it.
knowledge, yeah, in the '80s, New York was not. I'm an '80s baby. So New York was not a really nice place,
The
and then
Gambinos. Okay, which is a gang, which is the mob in New York, and the killer us sitting
and
like the Godfather.
yeah,
Go ahead, brother.
but it wasn't as it was slummy at the end of the day, and like he actually kicked off
Mm-hmm.
from all accounts like this whole development, like
Yes.
the rebirth of New York, the New York that we know today. He was the one who like connected this way to build that Trump Tower, and then everything else just fell into
Mm-hmm.
place with
Mm-hmm.
him and with other people around him and around his development. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's been accredited for that. He's tried his hand at several entrepreneurial things, steaks, clothing,
Mm-hmm.
all of those
Yeah.
different outlets. And some of
Mm-hmm.
them wasn't as successful, and then some of them were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Luciano gang. Go ahead, brother.
And a lot of people, and I'm not taking up for
Yes.
him because I don't owe him anything. He don't owe me anything. I never met him.
You mean you may be consulting him one day?
Listen,
Go ahead, brother.
but there's a open criticism because he entered bankruptcy a few times, and some of his businesses have failed, and blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, this is why he's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They point at every oops he made
Mm-hmm.
when they don't necessarily need to be pointed at.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually tried to start businesses that wasn't successful.
Yeah, but you
Doesn't
tried.
mean that I'm right. If you don't try, then you will never succeed.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
you at least have to put your best foot forward and try. And then with a little failure isn't bad because you know what mistakes not to make. You know
Yeah.
what has worked before, and you know what has not worked before. And
Yeah.
now what you do is you just simply remove some of those things that were not so great, and then you just keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, I won't knock him for that.
But you know what, Jabaris? I have one question that you know what it eluded me. Why? And I believe it to be true, but I want to get your clarification for you. Many people in the society believe that the Democratic Party are for the individuals that are in the middle class, in the
No,
lower class,
no.
but the Republicans are for the rich and the powerful elite. Would you say that's a misnomer and there's no truth to that?
Fallacy. Fake news. As our
Explain it
boy
to me.
was fake news. I know tons of, first off, money is money. And money don't care about race, gender, sex, or any of that. Money is money. And
I'm listening, brother. I'm sorry.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Um,
Now, there's a lot of people that believe that because the Republicans your party has given
no,
millions of dollars to multi-billion corporations, but
listen.
they did not want to give student loans. I'm talking
Bill
about
Clinton.
give
Bill Clinton.
not. I'm thinking for them, they didn't want to give a reprieve for people that have student loans, but they handed out millions of dollars to corporations that are wanting. Now,
That's
correct me.
that's just one. Well, I want to say minor, but that's just one aspect of economics in the financial state of America.
But is it true?
Not necessarily, because
Okay.
um, I live in a democratic city, and you couldn't tell me that they care for poor people. You couldn't tell me that they care for middle class people because they tax the shit out of them. We have some of the highest taxes in the world. So that's all fake. That's all
But
fake. Rich
you're saying that
Democrats,
the Republicans do not give up big businesses tax breaks.
both both
Amazon does not pay any taxes, and if it does,
both
it's at a minimum.
both Democrats and Republicans get rich what they want, and they do the poor and the middle class the way that they do. And that's on both sides of that. That's just me being honest. It's just me expressing what I've seen personally.
Yes.
That the rich is going to stay rich and the poor is actually getting poor. And that's not because of Republicans or ideology or some Democrat ideology. At the end of the day, if I'm a billionaire, it doesn't matter who sits in Congress. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House. What I want, I'm going to get because I'm going to get the consultants to go out and do my bidding.
Yes.
Go out and do my lobbying to fulfill my agenda.
Yeah. Now you know what you sounded like. You know what you sounded like when Donald Trump said they asked former President Donald Trump, "Did you pay the taxes?" He said, "No, I followed the rule." He said, "Hillary, you had the opportunity to change the rules years ago,
20 years.
Because what happened is you and your friends benefited." Would you agree with that?
And if I'm not mistaken, what party do she belong to? She's a Democrat, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, and she's been in as powerful as Hillary Clinton, the capacities she served in this country.
Yes.
I actually forgot she existed until the other day. I saw something on YouTube about her. I mean, she came and gone. I mean, she just. Yeah. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, when rich people want their way, they are going to go out and they're going to find a way.
You got a response in here. You see, is it the Republican Party show? Is it for you or for me? That question for you or me?
I wouldn't think so.
Cliff
is pretty independent.
I'm giving a Republican the opportunity to explain the paradigm and draw a picture and illustration of why blacks.
Well, now, actually, I should have started out with this. This is how I became a Republican Party member, or this is the seed for it. One day, When I was in elementary school. My elementary school was a polling place,
Mhm.
and the assistant principal at the time thought it'd be a good idea for a selected group
Mhm.
of us um, to go down to the auditorium where the polling was taking place and to observe the political process. And this woman walked in. I was sitting in the front row. I remember
Mhm.
like it was yesterday. The sister walked in,
Mhm.
and she walks up to the table, and the election judge said something to her or something, or asked her a question, and the
Mhm.
sister said she's a Republican. And I'm in
Yeah.
sixth grade, so I'm 11, 12. I don't know anything about anything.
Mhm.
And the that was like she just gave her a certain look. But
Yeah.
this woman, this sister, she had short hair. Remember, like
Mhm.
you just said, she had on like a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
mink. This
Yes.
she just looked like $1 million. She just
Yes.
smelled like
Yes.
$1 million. So
Yes.
then I just started reading on what the Republican Party stood for. And at the
Yes.
time, the only access, this is before the internet took off the way it is today.
Yes.
So I only got my hands on very limited information. But
Mhm.
I remember one of the first things I read was the Republicans are very anti-tax and they
Mhm.
don't believe, and then I asked around and someone explained to me that, somebody gave me like a brief history of it too. And they
Yeah.
gave me a pretty fair description. They were like, yeah, well, what they mean by that is they don't want to take your tax dollars and give it to someone else, which makes sense to me then and which makes sense to me now.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, Now, there's levels to it. If you become unemployed or something like that and you need some assistance, that's fine. That's
Mhm.
fine. And then once I got much, much older and things of that nature, like I was very anti entitlement,
Yes.
aka welfare. So like if you look at the numbers, I think welfare
Yes.
account for like point 0.01% of 1% or something like that of the federal budget. So like
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's nothing because our
Mhm.
military spending is a actually large percentage of our GDP.
Let me tell you
I mean, a
something
large percentage of our
real
budget.
quick. You got a lot of people that are listening to you, brother, but on
Well,
these different social media platforms. But go ahead, brother.
oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So, oh shit, I forgot where I was at. So, yeah, so I was like, okay, it makes sense. And then, once I looked at the federal budget and how the federal government spends money, I was like, okay, welfare is not a problem for the American government. I mean, at the end of the day, it's lent. It's not even pennies. It's lent because it's that little. It's that minute of the actual budget.
Hmm.
So then I started reading more and more and more, and then this experience, just walking down the street in my ward. See, I was able to get out of my environment
Hmm.
as a kid. I had a lot of working class elders above me.
Hmm.
So they were able to take me. I went camping and, things of that nature. I got outside the city. I got outside the neighborhood. I was able to experience different things. So once I saw these things, I'm like, wow, why do Oak Park have all these things?
Mm.
Well, Oak Park is a working class community. They all pay taxes and they hold their politicians accountable and they make their politicians do what they're supposed to do. And
Or
then,
accountable. Okay.
right, and then it's like, okay, that's fine. Now, of course, people in West Garfield, I was born in North Lawndale, but I grew up in West Garfield. I thought, okay, well, we can't necessarily afford to pay for a lot of the stuff that other communities have. But then I thought about it once I looked at the numbers, we pay just as much taxes as other people pay,
Yeah.
yet we don't have it. Then, when you look across town, you see that people within the same city, it's like the tales of two cities here in Chicago. How
Hmm.
come Lincoln Park, or how come Bucktown, or how come Wicker Park, or North Center, or River North? How come all of these neighborhoods are thriving,
Hmm.
and I'm from the West Side, so like
What side?
those neighborhoods, it's like 6 miles away from it. And
Yes.
then when you get to reading more and more and more, and I'm looking like, well, hey, we have a Democrat mayor, we have Democrat alderman, we have Democrat county commissioners, we have a
Yeah.
Democrat state rep and a state senator, and all of these people. I mean, there's no opposition. It'd be
Yeah.
different if it was Republicans and they were fighting this and fighting. I mean, at the end of the day, anything that if Democrats wanted all of Chicago to be built up, what's stopping them?
Yes. Yes.
What's
So,
what's
you decided to put yourself in a position by becoming a geopolitical um, uh, person and a political consultant to ensure that that they will be challenged and they will not just rule in impunity. Is that the
absolutely?
reason why you?
Listen,
Yeah.
it's first off, all Republicans are not the same. You
Yes.
start by saying that. All of
Yes.
us are cut. We are cut different. Like there are different levels on the left. You got
Yes.
the far left, and then on our side you got that far alt right.
Yes.
I'm for the most part I'm pretty moderate.
Yeah.
Socially, if you're a guy you want to wear a dress, I find it a little weird. But as an American, you have that right.
Yes.
Now, I'm very fiscal conservative. I'm very fiscal. I don't believe in pissing away money.
Yes.
I really don't. I mean, we need to better spend money. We need to spend money better. I mean,
Yes.
we are doing we have a lot of subsidies. Believe it or not, the west side and the north side subsidize.
Yes.
The west side and south side subsidize the north side. When
Mm-hmm.
you see some big developer build a development
Mm-hmm.
and they get those tax breaks that the city give them, or the
Yes.
county give them, or the state give them, the city, the county, and the state, they are losing money. Guess who
Mm-hmm.
get overtaxed?
Yes.
The west
Yeah.
side and the south side. So when Sterling Bay or someone go and build up these, and now that's not a shot at any of these developers, because development is good. It keeps the economy moving. But when one of these guys come through and they come into a neighborhood and they start building these skyscrapers and things of that nature, and they get these tax breaks, that $40 million coming from it's gonna hit the city coffers.
Yeah. Excuse me for 1 second. You know what? We're at the top of the hour because I'm going to edit this. But you know what? I am talking with political strategists and consultant, Brother Jarvis, and we're talking about blacks coming into the Republican Party, and that the Democrats have a tendency to take black vote for credit. And like I say, he helps Republican candidates in terms of getting elected. He's very, very, and he's for hire. I think he's for hire. But go ahead, brother. Quick intro.
And
Your grandfather was doing. Any message for your grandchildren? Great.
Fifth Street.
Those street cameras, right?
Those are the screens like you watch on a computer.
Right.
All right. They got a room where they listen to conversations all around the country. All right. That's why I can say what I said.
Scary.
But they let me go because he was an important person, and they figured if he was pregnant, it was all right. All right. They made a mistake, but I never forgot that.
Well, wait a minute. Wow.